Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew, and today I'm back doing another vlog. As you know, I'm doing a vlog, something's up. And as you may have heard, the Voxadpocalypse is coming, and the reactions that from YouTube prove that it's no longer meant to be a creator's platform. Okay. There's so much wrong with YouTube at this point. I don't know if I'll be able to discuss it all, but I'm going to try. Now, I will say this. Some of this is written, some not so much. Mainly, so before we start, I need to get one thing out of the way. Everything I'm going to talk about today, for the most part, comes from this book, The Criminal Code of Canada, or the Canadian Criminal Code. I'm no expert of law, period, but I am going to read what it says in the Criminal Code here in Canada. YouTube is run in the United States, so things can be a little different from what happened, from what actually says in the United States, what their code says. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to be going with the Canadian definitions, the Canadian law, because that's what's familiar to me. I would recommend for everyone here to go and actually look and talk to talk to people of the legal profession. Look up the laws yourself. Do research. It's the only way we can get through this is to be informed. Holy cow, I got really windy. Okay, there you go. Okay, so first things first. Censorship and freedom of speech violations. So, before I go into this, there's one piece of the United States legislation I know. Not word by word, but I know the gist. The Constitution of the United States of America. And can you believe they have this thing called freedom of speech, just like the rest of us? Can you tell I'm tired? Well, according to the Canadian Criminal Code, because I don't have the Constitution pulled up, which I should have, actually, now that I think about it, whatever. Under Section 2, Paragraph B of the Criminal Code, everyone has the following fundamental freedoms. Go to B. The freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including the freedom of press and other media of communication. Section 2B protects all forms of expression, whether oral, written, pictorial, sculptures, music, dance, or film. Freedom of expression refers to, overmore, extends to those engaged in expression for profit and those who wish to express the idea of others and the recipients as well as the originators of communication. I'm not going to read you this 2-page legal nonsense because those are all just about case law and how that fell out. But according to it, everyone has the right to express themselves. We call it the freedom of expression here. It's freedom of speech is the same thing. The reason why this is so important is it's everyone, regardless of your beliefs, religion, or anything else, you have the right to your expression, to your opinion, to your belief. And I'm not talking about religion, because 2A is literally the freedom of conscience and religion. We are not talking about religion here. When I say belief, it's what you believe in. According to the code, according to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, you are not allowed you're not allowed to take away people's rights or freedoms under Section 1 as long as it can be demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society, and those laws cannot be taken away except in accordance with the fundamental principles of justice. As per, now I have to go through this whole thing again. As per the legal rights of Section 7 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. YouTube and most media sites have been censoring right wing or conservative media. People like Stephen Sharp or Stephen Crowder, who has the Mug Club, which after I saw the video, I signed up, buddy. For you, I don't have the mug, so I have my own little mug here. It's empty. Yeah, I haven't put water in it yet, but yeah. The censorship of this information isn't what it's supposed to be. A platform, I can understand if it's like child molestation, why you'd remove that. If it's outrageous sex scenes, I can understand that. What I can't understand is that every time someone says, I am hurt by this, oh, who was that? Nope, no one for it. But if it is anything to do with my feelings got hurt with this, or I don't feel safe with this. Okay, if you don't feel safe, there's a reason for it. If you cannot look at it and say, hey, this is actually dangerous. This is horrid. It's hate speech. Then you shouldn't be allowed to censor it. It's not the job of the platform to censor its users. When you create guidelines and policies, that's fine. Go with the guidelines and policies. But do not be blocking people. And Google, or I guess YouTube, don't be blocking if you're worried that they'll be unable to be monetized to viewers because it's too right wing. Maybe let some right wing people advertise on your platform, because you get at least twice the amount of money you're already getting, because the population is majority. Most people like conservative things as well. I don't mind getting a new truck, but I can only get one. I don't need 60 Ford commercials and then 2 about an airline. I can buy 16 guns and or 1 plane ticket. Like it's just how that happens. So YouTube, I know you're not watching me, and if you are, thank you for finally paying attention to me. No matter what happens, you need to remember, people aren't this or this. It's a spectrum. And people, as of late, have been moving to the right side of the spectrum, or more centralist. Not liberal, not hyper conservative. That's your extremists. I'm trying to get it to frame, and I'm failing miserably. It's not your 2 extremes. Most people are in this bunch right here. It's the people that are here that you're making mad. Because these people like Crowder are angry because they don't see much they like, and then when they do, they get demonetized like the next day. Here, they're seeing creators they like, get lots of it, but then they're seeing creators they don't like, or creators that shouldn't be monetized being monetized. These are the people that you're making mad. These are the only people that you're justifying right now. And that is not correct. And I just realized everything's reversed. So, sorry. Let's go back to hate speech for a second. Because the public has a really bad idea of what hate speech means. So I pulled up the legal definition of hate speech. Now, I'm going to flip into my criminal code into the sections which are part of that hate speech. First off, we need to define two definitions. Identifiable group. It is used in it is identified in section 318 as in the section identifiable group means any section of the public distinguished by color, race, religion, national or ethnic origin, age, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, or mental or physical disability. Remember this. Every bit of group can be an identifiable group. I am a white, I'm a Caucasian male. I fit the Caucasian identifiable group and the male identifiable group. That is my race and that is my sex. I am a bisexual. I fall into the bisexual identifiable group. It doesn't say how small or how big it is. Remember that. Okay. The next one is hate propaganda, which is defined in 320. I hate going this book. Anyway. Oh boy. Now I have to go all the way back. Hate propaganda means any writing, sign, or visible representation that advocates or promotes genocide or the communication of which by any person would constitute an offense under Section 319. Now hold on, I'll get to 319 because that's where most of these are from. But I want to first go to 318. This is pretty much like a war crime. It's advocating genocide. Everyone who advocates or promotes genocide is guilty of an indictable offense, which is a felony in the United States. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but just to make it clear, genocide is killing members of any particular identifiable group or inflicting the group the conditions of life calculated by bringing about its physical destruction. And it's intentionally to destroy in whole or in part. So let's go to 319. This is where hate speech kind of goes. Now you see, hate speech in and of itself isn't a term. I'm just going to move my thing back so I can see my camera, make sure I'm still in frame. So for example, we're going to start with section 319.1. Everyone who, by communicating statements in any public place, incites hatred against any identifiable in any identifiable group where such incitement is likely to lead to a breach of the peace is guilty of, and then it's a hybrid, which is a felony or just based on how they run the trial. But the important thing to know, lead to the breach of peace. It's not if it hurts your feelings, it's if it causes a riot, if it causes vandalism, then that happens. Then this can go. This is publicly inciting hatred. So let's move down to the next one, section 319.2, which is everyone who, by communicating statements other than in private conversation, willfully promotes hatred against any identifiable group. Hold on. Well, that says hatred. Where does it define hatred? Hatred is not actually defined that well. Because hatred can be anything from your shoes are ugly to I want all white men to die. Yeah. It's up to the court's interpretation of how far that hatred is going to go. Most people will never see that. Promoting hatred is like if I go to like Antifa and I say, "Hey, those those stupid people over there, let's go stab them." Well, now I just told them to go murder someone, or at least assault them badly with a weapon. But if I said, "Don't look at those girls walking down the street. Don't they look stupid?" All all girls like that are stupid. And then I say that, right? And I keep saying it day after day after day to different groups of people. And then they start spreading it. And they start spreading. That is promoting hatred. Anyway, we're going back to 19.2. Okay, so it's an offense. So pretty much it just means to willfully promote hatred by making statements that aren't. It's a hybrid. It's imprisonment for no more than 2 years. Okay, just in case you wanted to know all that. There are defenses to this. No person shall be convicted of offense under subsection 2 if he establishes in the criminal code, it's only he, there's no he or she, it's always he. If he establishes that the statements communicated were true. I am pro gun. Why? Because gun control is stupid and it does not work. Why? Because criminals don't listen to laws, and it takes a good guy with a gun to stop a bad guy with a gun. That's my opinion. I can provide evidence upon evidence on that. I have now communicated that it's true. Or, but then there's an or. If in good faith the person expressed or attempted to establish an argument of an opinion on a religious subject, or an opinion based on belief in a religious text. Not touching that. C. If the statements were relevant in any subject of public interest. Mass shootings, gun control, the discussion of which is for public benefit or on reasonable grounds he believed them to be true. I believe that is true, and I believe it's for the better interest if we do not have gun control. But not everyone will agree with that. Okay. And D, if in good faith he intends to point out for the purpose of removal matters of producing or tending to produce feelings of hatred towards an identifiable group in Canada. If I see a group of protesters going down the street with swastikas on their thing, it's like down with the Jews. You can bet I'm going to call the cops. And I will also I'll probably go down there and say, "Hey, why are you so hated against them? They didn't do anything this time. Well, they didn't do anything. I don't think they didn't do anything the first time either. There was a scapegoat, but they didn't do anything. Yes, they did. Well, I don't think they did, and you shouldn't be doing this because you need to look it up because that's not wrong anymore, right? So you need to look at the situation. They look at the situation. That all those four things I just read were defenses to it. Most of what we say, us right wings, fall under C or A, but because we either have evidence or if we don't have evidence, we believe it's in a matter of public interest and we believe it to be true. So most of it does not qualify as hate speech, according to this. Now, again, don't know what the U.S. law says, but yeah. Second, and so before I know you guys didn't come here for a legal lesson today, but honestly, there's just not much I'm willing to talk about. And this negatively affects every single YouTube creator, independent YouTube creator, not the big corporations like Ellen or Vox, who has money from CBC or CBS or whatever the station's called. If If you want to create change, you need to work with those people who are actively fighting against it. I may not agree with everything Crowder says. For example, I love the healthcare system. I think it works. I think it works great. Yeah, yeah, sure. The wait time can be a little bit long here in Canada, but we still give better quality care than in the U.S. and most places for people at the same price. We don't, and most of us. I have my own healthcare. I have additional insurance, so I can get bigger surgeries faster. No, they can't stop you from that. And if they did, that's when it's too far from me. But I believe that a reasonable expectation of health should be given to everyone, regardless. As you have the right to life, liberty, you have right to life and liberty. So even if you don't agree with something like Crowder, we need to team up and to either take you two back for the creators, or we need to deal with this head on, and challenge YouTube into making a firm guideline with no leeway so we know exactly what we can and can't do on the platform. Because at this time, it is not working. Well, everyone, I hope you liked my lovely rant and about and my 20 minutes of recording and most of that was reading from this book. If you guys have any legal questions regarding this stuff, you can put it down below. I will link sources to. I'll link the sections down below where I read it from. I'll also put a link to Stephen Crowder's website and YouTube channel because we need to join the fight. Um, and I would suggest anyone who looks at stuff like Vox and be like, "Oh no, how dare they have guns?" You might want to take another look and see who's really playing you here. I'm Matthew Marthaler, and until next time, bye bye.